Imagine a country as big as Canada, but nearly 90% of the population is crammed into just a few cities near the US border. So what about the rest? Today, we're exploring the 9 provinces and territories where barely anyone lives, and why Canada, despite being one of the largest countries on Earth, is mostly empty. Canada is huge, the second largest country in the world, but with only 40 million people, it's shockingly underpopulated. In fact, more than 50% of Canadians live in just 3 provinces: Ontario, Quebec, and British Columbia. But what about the rest of the country? Today, we're looking at 9 provinces and territories that remain mostly empty and why people just don't live there. Kicking off our list at number 9 is Newfoundland and Labrador. Despite being larger than California, this province has just 530,000 people, most of them clustered around St. John's. Why? Harsh winters, rough terrain, and a struggling job market have kept population growth low, and many young people have left for opportunities in bigger cities. Next, we have Prince Edward Island. It's Canada's smallest province, both in size and population, with just 170,000 people. PEI has a stunning coastline, but its rural nature and limited industry mean it lacks the big city appeal that attracts more people. Coming in at number 7 is New Brunswick, one of the few places in Canada where the population is actually shrinking. Even with beautiful scenery and affordable housing, many young people leave due to limited jobs and an aging population. Welcome to Manitoba, a province with more than half its people living in just one city, Winnipeg. Outside of that, it's mostly farmland and frozen tundra. Brutal winters, flat landscapes, and isolation keep Manitoba from growing at the pace of other provinces. Saskatchewan is another massive province with a tiny population. While farming is huge here, the extreme winters and long distances between towns make it less appealing for new residents. Plus, most job opportunities are tied to agriculture and mining, meaning fewer industries for young professionals. Despite its stunning coastline and thriving seafood industry, Nova Scotia still has under 1 million residents. Many young people leave for bigger job markets, and while Halifax is growing, much of the province remains quiet, rural, and sparsely populated. Now we enter the real emptiness. At number 3 is the Yukon, a territory bigger than Germany, but home to just 44,000 people. Why? Extreme cold, isolation, and a harsh northern climate mean only the most adventurous choose to live here. Taking the number 2 spot is the Northwest Territories, with just 41,000 people in an area bigger than Texas and California combined. The biggest challenge: extreme weather, limited infrastructure, and being miles from the nearest major city. And finally, at number 1, the emptiest place in Canada, Nunavut. This vast Arctic territory is home to just 40,000 people, most of them in small indigenous communities. With no roads connecting towns, long winters, and sky-high costs of living, it remains one of the most remote places in the world. So, why does half of Canada remain empty? It comes down to harsh climates, remote locations, limited job opportunities, and the pull of big cities like Toronto and Vancouver. Most Canadians choose to live close to the US border, where the climate is milder and economic opportunities are greater. So there you have it, 9 provinces and territories where barely anyone lives. Would you ever move to one of these remote places? Let us know in the comments. And if you enjoyed this, subscribe to Travel Earth for more deep dives into the world's most fascinating places. Watch our next video on the oldest countries on Earth.